Did you know that across America, seniors are sitting on decades of just-in-case clutter? Items tucked away in closets, cabinets, and drawers, waiting for a moment that never comes. It might seem harmless at first, an extra blanket, a stack of cards, an old bread maker, but these things don't just take up space. They quietly chip away at your peace of mind, crowd your home, and add guilt every time you see them but don't use them. Think about it. How many times have you held onto something thinking, I might need this one day, only for that day never to arrive? Instead of providing comfort, these items become silent reminders of projects left undone, plans that faded, or memories you're afraid to release. And over time, this just-in-case clutter isn't protecting you, it's weighing you down. But here's the good news. Freedom doesn't come from keeping everything. It comes from letting go of what no longer serves you. And today, I'll show you exactly where to start. Together, we'll uncover 12 everyday items most seniors still have tucked away, and why letting them go in 2025 might be the greatest gift you give yourself. So before we dive in, take a moment to hit that like button and tap subscribe. Because what you'll hear in the next few minutes could transform not just your home, but your heart and your sense of freedom. Meet Dorothea Langley, 81, a retired high school art teacher from the rolling hills of Oregon. For decades, her classroom was alive with the smell of paint, the sound of brushes tapping against jars, and her trademark, bright, colorful scarves she wore every single day. Each scarf was part of her identity, a splash of joy in the lives of her students. Yet when she retired, something happened. The scarves stopped being worn and started being stored. Drawer after drawer became filled with them, folded neatly but never touched again. After her husband passed, Dorothea admitted something that many seniors quietly understand. Her home, once a space for laughter and creativity, had slowly turned into a gallery of someday items. Things she told herself she might use again, but never did. She kept a drawer of scarves in case she wanted to paint again, stacks of linens in case family stayed over, and even unopened gifts she never had the heart to give away. The truth. Each item was tied to a future she imagined but that never actually arrived. Instead of offering comfort, those objects made her feel trapped in yesterday, burdened by what ifs. She said softly, I realized I wasn't keeping things for the life I was living. I was keeping them for a life that had already passed. And that's why Dorothea's story matters. Because like her, so many seniors across America are living with just-in-case clutter, things meant to prepare us for the future, but in reality, they weigh us down in the present. So let's take this journey together. Let's walk through the 12 everyday items Dorothea, and perhaps you, have been holding on to just in case, and discover why letting them go in 2025 might be the greatest act of freedom yet. Item number 1. Extra sets of linens nobody uses. Let's start with one of the most common culprits hiding in almost every senior's home, extra sets of linens. For years, Dorothea's linen closet was crammed with sheets, pillowcases, and blankets she had neatly folded, stacked, and saved for guests. But here's the truth, those guests rarely came. Her children had their own homes, her friends no longer stayed overnight, and yet the closet groaned under the weight of fabric she never touched. Every time she opened that door, she felt a sting of guilt. The crisp white sheets she'd bought for family visits still had the tags on them. Quilts she promised herself she'd rotate sat untouched for years. Instead of feeling prepared, she felt weighed down, almost as if the closet whispered, "You're not keeping up with the life you thought you'd have." And Dorothea isn't alone. Across the US, seniors hold on to stacks of linens, often out of tradition or duty. But here's the problem. Unused linens don't just take up space, they collect dust, allergens, and even mold in damp conditions, which can quietly affect breathing and sleep quality. The fix is simple but freeing. Keep only the sets you actually use and love. 2 for your bed, 1 spare for guests, and the rest. Time to donate. Dorothea finally gave away half her closet to a local shelter. She admitted, for the first time, opening that door felt like breathing fresh air. So let me ask you, if you opened your linen closet right now, how many sets are sitting there untouched? Maybe today's the day to free yourself from them. Item number 2. Expired pantry staples. Now, let's step into the kitchen, because clutter doesn't just hide in closets. It hides in our pantries. 2. Dorothea admitted she had shelves lined with canned goods, spices, and baking mixes she told herself she was saving just in case. Some were from last year, others were years past their best-by dates. One can of peaches had been sitting there since her husband was alive. She laughed nervously as she said, "I think I was keeping food for a family that doesn't live here anymore." And here's the 2025 reality. With rising grocery prices and inflation, many seniors fall into the trap of stocking up and then never using what they bought. It feels safe to have extra on hand. But expired food doesn't protect you. It creates stress, waste, and sometimes even health risks. Spices lose their flavor, baking goods go stale, and expired cans can grow bacteria you don't see until it's too late. When Dorothea finally went through her shelves, she tossed bags of flour that smelled sour and spices that had turned into faded dust. At first, she felt guilty, thinking of the money she had wasted. But then she realized the real waste was in holding onto items that no longer served her. Once she cleared them out, her pantry looked brighter, lighter, and easier to navigate. Cooking actually felt inviting again. So here's my challenge for you. Pick one shelf in your pantry and check the dates. What's expired? What's still good? You might be surprised how much space and peace of mind you gain when you let go of yesterday's groceries. Item number 3. Old holiday decorations. Now let's talk about something that tugs at the heart more than the hands: holiday decorations. For many seniors, those boxes in the attic or garage aren't just lights and ornaments, they're time capsules. Dorothea had 3 large bins filled with Christmas decor, tangled strings of lights, faded wreaths, and ornaments she hadn't hung in more than a decade. Some were chipped, others broken, but she kept them anyway. When I asked her why, she said softly, "I thought if I threw them away, I'd lose the memories with them." That's the emotional trap so many seniors face. Holiday decorations carry nostalgia, reminders of family dinners, children's laughter, or traditions shared with loved ones who may no longer be here. But here's the truth: keeping broken ornaments doesn't preserve the memories, they just take up space and add guilt every holiday season when you open the boxes and feel sadness instead of joy. Dorothea eventually chose a handful of meaningful pieces: the star her husband once put on the tree, a few hand-painted ornaments her students gave her, and donated the rest. She said, "It felt like I was honoring the memories instead of burying them under dust." The fix is simple. Keep the few decorations that spark joy and release the rest. Your memories live in your heart, not in broken glass or tangled wires. So here's a gentle question. When was the last time you opened your holiday box and actually used what's inside? Maybe this year, the gift you give yourself is letting go. Item number 4. Stacks of greeting cards and stationery. The next item on our list hides quietly in drawers and boxes: stacks of greeting cards and stationery. Dorothea had entire drawers filled with birthday cards, thank you notes, and blank stationery she bought over the years with the best intentions. She told herself she'd use them to write long letters to friends, or to send little notes just because. But life got busy, arthritis made writing harder, and those stacks simply sat there, yellowing with time. Every time she opened that drawer, instead of inspiration, she felt a pang of guilt. This is something many seniors quietly face. Cards and stationery represent connection, reaching out, staying in touch, keeping traditions alive. But when they go unused, they become a constant reminder of what we haven't done. The emotional weight is heavy. It feels like promises left unfulfilled. And in today's world, where most people connect with a quick phone call, video chat, or even a text, the truth is many of those cards may never be used. Dorothea found a way forward. She kept a small set of her favorite cards, ones she genuinely planned to use, and donated the rest to a local senior center, where volunteers wrote uplifting notes to patients in hospitals. She said, "It was like those cards finally fulfilled their purpose, even if it wasn't me writing them." Here's a simple step you can try. Keep 5 cards you know you'll use this year, and let the rest go. Imagine the joy of turning a drawer of guilt into one of freedom. So let me ask you, if you opened your card drawer right now, would it inspire you, or weigh you down? Item number 5. Sewing supplies or craft materials. Now let's step into a space that feels especially tender for many seniors: sewing supplies and craft materials. Dorothea kept baskets filled with colorful fabric squares, spools of thread, and half-finished projects. She had once imagined making quilts for her children, sewing aprons for her granddaughters, even creating art pieces that reflected her years as a teacher. But the truth? Most of those projects never happened. Arthritis made her hands ache, her eyesight wasn't what it used to be, and the energy she once had for long afternoons of stitching just wasn't there anymore. Every time she looked at those baskets, she didn't feel joy, she felt loss. She admitted, "It wasn't fabric anymore. It was a reminder of dreams I didn't chase." And that's something so many seniors experience. Supplies and materials that once symbolized creativity now sit untouched, carrying guilt instead of inspiration. But here's the shift Dorothea made. Instead of letting those baskets weigh her down, she donated most of her fabric and supplies to a local quilting group that made blankets for children in hospitals. She kept one small box with just a few fabrics she loved, the ones that brought back happy memories. She said, "Letting go didn't erase my creativity. It honored it. Those pieces finally found purpose." The takeaway: it's okay to release projects you'll never finish. Keeping supplies doesn't mean you're keeping your passion. It just means you're storing guilt. Freeing them can spark joy for someone else and peace for you. So here's a thought. What project supplies are you holding on to that no longer inspire you? Item number 6. Unused electronics and cords. Now let's head into a drawer almost every senior admits to having, the electronics and cords pile. Dorothea had a showbox filled with old flip phones, tangled chargers, radio parts, and a remote control for a TV she no longer owned. She laughed as she pulled out a Nokia phone from the early 2000s and said, "I guess I thought the Smithsonian might need it someday." But beneath the humor was a real problem. These gadgets were more than useless, they were unsafe. Most seniors don't realize that unused electronics, especially when stored for years, can slowly leak harmful toxins like lead or mercury. Dust-covered cords and cracked batteries pose risks not just for clutter but for health and safety. And yet, many keep them because of that little voice whispering, "What if I need this charger again?" The truth is, by the time you need it, the technology is long outdated. Dorothea decided to face her box. She kept one charger she still used and safely recycled the rest through her town's e-waste program. She admitted afterward, "I didn't realize how much space that one box was stealing from me until it was gone." Here's the takeaway. Keeping old electronics doesn't prepare you, it anchors you to the past. Recycling them isn't just decluttering, it's protecting your home and your health. So here's a quick challenge. If you opened your drawer of cords today, could you actually identify what half of them belong to? If not, it might be time to let them go. Item number 7. Medical supplies. Another category Dorothea struggled with was medical supplies. Tucked into her hallway closet were 2 extra canes, a walker she never used, unopened bandages, and a blood pressure cuff still in its box. She told herself she was keeping them just in case, but every time she saw them, she felt a chill. "It was like my closet was predicting a future where I'd already lost my independence," she admitted. And this is the hidden sting of keeping unused medical items. Instead of offering comfort, they feed fear, fear of decline, fear of what might happen. While it may feel like preparation, it actually ties you to a future you don't want to live. Research shows that for seniors, surrounding yourself with medical clutter can quietly raise anxiety and make you feel older or frailer than you really are. Dorothea made a powerful choice. She donated the unopened supplies to a local senior center where they were put to immediate use by people who actually needed them. She kept only the essentials that truly supported her health today, not what she feared for tomorrow. Afterward she said, "It felt like I was reclaiming my trust in myself, not in the clutter." The lesson: preparation should empower you, not weigh you down. Holding on to excess medical gear doesn't give you safety, it gives you unnecessary worry. So here's the question: what medical supplies are sitting in your home right now that you don't actually use? Maybe it's time to pass them on to someone who truly needs them. Item number 8. Kitchen gadgets that never seether. Now let's step into the kitchen, because this is where just-in-case clutter really shows up. Dorothea had a corner cabinet she jokingly called the graveyard of good intentions. Inside sat a bread maker she used once in the 90s, a blender with a cracked lid, and fancy serving dishes she had bought for company. The problem? That company never came. Her kids preferred bringing food when they visited, and the gadgets gathered dust year after year. This is a story many seniors share. Kitchen gadgets promise convenience, but in reality, many sit untouched, taking up valuable space. And every time you see them, instead of joy, you feel guilt. I should use this. I spent money on this. Maybe one day. But that day rarely comes. Here's the kicker. Unused appliances aren't just wasted space, they can be unsafe. Plastic parts degrade, electrical cords crack, and using old gadgets can even create fire hazards. Dorothea realized the bread maker she was saving just in case had a frayed wire that could have been dangerous. So she made a decision. She donated her serving dishes to a local church that actually hosted community dinners and recycled the unsafe gadgets. She kept only her favorite coffee maker and one mixing bowl she used daily. It felt like my kitchen could finally breathe again, she said with a smile. The lesson. Your kitchen should serve your life today, not weigh you down with yesterday's purchases. So tell me, what gadget in your kitchen hasn't been touched in years? Item number 9. Old clothes that don't fit. Few things weigh heavier on the heart than a closet full of clothes that no longer fit. Dorothea had dresses from her teaching days, skirts she hadn't zipped in decades, and even a sequined gown she once wore to a holiday party with her husband. She kept them all, telling herself, just in case I lose the weight, just in case there's another special occasion. But every time she opened her closet, those clothes didn't encourage her, they whispered regret. You used to fit in me. You don't anymore. This is a silent struggle for many seniors. Instead of sparking hope, ill-fitting clothes often remind us of who we were, not who we are now. And here's the truth. Bodies change with age. Holding on to clothes from another season of life doesn't prepare you. It traps you in the past. Dorothea finally let go of most of those outfits. She donated her gowns to a local theatre group and her professional clothes to a charity that helps women re-enter the workforce. She kept a few comfortable, well-fitting pieces that made her feel good today. Her words were powerful. When I let those clothes go, I wasn't giving up. I was choosing dignity over disappointment. The lesson. Your closet should celebrate the body you live in now, not punish you for the one you no longer have. So let me ask, is there a dress or suit in your closet that's been waiting for someday? Maybe today's the day to let it go. Item number 10. Piles of magazines and newspapers. Dorothea's living room had a corner table that she jokingly called her reading pile. But in truth, it wasn't a pile to read, it was a pile to avoid. Stacks of magazines and newspapers sat there for years, with pages folded to mark recipes she never tried and articles she swore she'd get back to someday. Over time, the pile grew taller, dustier, and heavier, not just in paper but in guilt. She admitted, every time I walked by, it didn't remind me of knowledge. It reminded me of what I hadn't done. This is a trap many seniors know well. In the past, magazines and newspapers were the gateway to information. But in 2025, almost everything, recipes, news, advice, is available online, instantly and endlessly. Yet those stacks remain, quietly cluttering tables and floors. Worse still, old paper piles attract dust mites, allergens, and even pests, making them more than just clutter, they can be a health risk. Dorothea finally took a bold step. She recycled the entire pile, keeping just a scrapbook of her favorite recipes. She said, I realized I didn't need a stack of paper to prove I was still curious. My curiosity lives in me. The lesson is clear. Magazines and newspapers serve their purpose in the moment, but they're not meant to stay forever. Freeing yourself from the pile doesn't erase your interests, it gives you room to enjoy them now. So here's a question for you. How many magazines are sitting in your home right now that you haven't touched in years? Maybe today's the day to clear the table and clear your mind. Item number 11. Outdated cleaning supplies. Dorothea's under-sink cabinet looked like a science experiment waiting to happen. Bottles of bleach with faded labels, half-used sprays, and mystery containers she couldn't even identify sat side by side. She admitted, I kept them just in case I needed them, But honestly, I didn't even remember what half of them were for. This is a hidden danger many seniors overlook. Cleaning products don't last forever. Over time, they lose potency, meaning they don't even do the job you're saving them for. Worse, chemicals can break down, leak, or react with other bottles stored nearby. Mixing something as common as bleach with ammonia can release toxic fumes strong enough to send someone to the ER. And yet, many seniors keep these old bottles because they feel wasteful throwing them away. Dorothea decided to face it head-on. With help from her neighbor, she safely disposed of the expired bottles through a local hazardous waste program. She kept only 3 essentials: glass cleaner, dish soap, and a multipurpose spray, and stored them neatly in a small caddy. She said afterward, "For the first time in years, I opened that cabinet and didn't feel like I was holding my breath." The truth is, keeping outdated cleaners doesn't make you prepared, it makes you vulnerable. Safety comes from simplicity, not stockpiles. So here's a challenge for you. Open your cleaning cabinet today. Do those bottles make you feel safer, or do they make you nervous? If it's the latter, it may be time to let them go. Item number 12. Gifts never opened. The last category Dorothea faced was the hardest: gifts never opened. On her dresser sat candles still in wrapping paper, perfume sealed in boxes, and trinkets she never used. When asked why she kept them, her answer was simple: "I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings." Those items weren't kept out of joy, they were kept out of guilt. This is something countless seniors relate to. A gift, even one you don't need or want, carries a sense of obligation. Throwing it out feels ungrateful. But here's the truth: a gift is meant to bring joy, not to chain you to an object. If it sits unopened for years, it's not a blessing, it's clutter disguised as kindness. And every time you see it, instead of gratitude, you feel a pang of guilt for not using it. Dorothea had a breakthrough moment when she donated several unopened candles and bath sets to a women's shelter. She said, "I realized those gifts could finally serve their purpose, bringing comfort to someone who actually needed them." In that moment, the burden of obligation lifted, and she felt lighter. The lesson is simple. Keeping a gift out of guilt doesn't honor the giver, it dishonors yourself. Passing it on allows the gift to live its purpose and frees your space, your heart, and your mind. So here's a question for you. Is there a box sitting in your home right now, still unopened from years ago? Maybe it's time to let that gift finally do what it was meant to: bless someone else. By the end of her journey, Dorothea had a realization that cut deeper than she expected. Her just-in-case items weren't preparing her for tomorrow, they were quietly robbing her of peace today. Every unused sheet, unopened gift, or dusty gadget wasn't a lifeline, it was an anchor. When she finally let them go, she looked around her home and said with a quiet smile, "When I let them go, I didn't lose anything. I gained room to breathe." And maybe that's the heart of this message. Clutter doesn't just live on shelves or in closets, it lives in our minds. It weighs us down with guilt, regret, or what ifs. But when you release the items that no longer serve you, you also release the heaviness attached to them. Dorothea didn't just create space in her home, she created space in her life for joy, comfort, and freedom. So here's your invitation. If her story touched you, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you love. Chances are, they're carrying their own just-in-case pile, and your share could be the nudge they need to let go. And don't stop here. Because in our next video, we'll uncover the 7 everyday clutter traps that secretly drain seniors' energy. Items you may walk past every day without realizing how much they're costing you. Your home should be a sanctuary, not a storage unit for maybe. Let's build that freedom together.